It's TexAgs Rewind, presented by T-Mobile. Hello, everybody. Appreciate T-Mobile. They want to remind you to visit T-Mobile.com/across America to learn more how you can get value and coverage with T-Mobile. So the awkwardness is gone because the show was really good. And Keith Sanchez of the Draft Network came on here. We broke down some of the lesser names that you don't see in that first and second round. We started with them and worked our way up to the top of that draft. We also talked recruiting with Brauny. Harold Perkins is still a big conversation point. We'll have a lot more hopefully throughout the week. And 7 days left before signing day? Well, next Wednesday we'll be here. A&M basketball, the women's side, struggling. Gary Blair came in studio and gave us some great insight to what's going on with the team and how they're going to try to fix things moving forward. Chris Landry, love Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com, talked to us about many things, about some of the possible replacements there for Sean Payton, and talked about Sean Payton's departure from the New Orleans Saints. All that and more here on TexAgs Rewind, presented by T-Mobile.
Well, I've known Sean for a long time. For a couple of years, this has been coming, or it looked like it was not just a possibility, but a probability last year. And then he took some time and he, decided to come back. I'm losing track of time now. We've gotten so far. 2-3 weeks ago, he, told Miss Benson, Gail Benson, the owner, and Nikki Loomis that this is the direction he was thinking he was going to go. And what they told him was, look, you got to do what you got to do, what's right for you. But take some time off, get away. He's newly married. Sean is his second wife, Skylene, and they went to, I believe, Cabo, and they spent a couple of weeks, and just to make sure that's what you want to do. It's one of those things. Sleep on it. Well, several sleeps. Obviously, they were hoping that he would maybe get re-energized or rethink it or want to do something else, and say, yeah, I want to come back. But he came back and he said, no, this is what I want to do. And so that's why that people say, well, I need to let him know sooner. Well, he did. This is what he wanted to do. And one of the difficulties when you've got somebody that's been so successful is you want to keep them, you want to give them time. It's like the great Dean Smith used to say. I remember seeing him one time at a coaching clinic. It was a combined football, basketball coaching clinic. And he said, that for, because he coached forever, and he said, well, how do you know when it was time? And he said, well, for 15 years, at the end of the season, I wanted to quit. I wanted to retire. He said, but by the time, it got, 2 months out from the starting the season, my batteries were recharged. So he says it's something you feel. And I can relate to that. At the end of the season, you just want to, I've got enough. My body can't do it. My mind can't handle it. And so I think they were hoping that's what Sean wanted to, felt, and was going to come back recharged. And he just, he felt it was time. And so that's where we are with it. And I think Dennis Allen will probably get the job, but, we'll see how that plays out. And, Sean will certainly do on to do good things. And I don't think this is a retirement. He said it yesterday. I think he'll probably coach again, but it's, 2 weeks, a month is not enough time he needs off.
We're not feeling sorry for ourselves. We need to correct ourselves. It always starts with teaching first, coaching second, playing third.
Well, one of the things that you said on your show this week that caught my attention was you compared this year's team to what Buzz went through last year. If you can kind of expand on that for us.
Well, exactly. Buzz looked at his parts and realized the style that he had to play. He had to play more of a half-court game, and he had to execute. He had to do every little thing right. He had to shoot free throws. He had to limit his fouls. He had to have people that would accept their roles or wouldn't accept their roles. He realized that he didn't have the speed that he needed to compete against the Kentuckys or the Auburns, the teams that wanted to push the tempo, or the LSUs. So he tried to put it all together like you throw up that tossed salad and put it together and hope that there's some tomatoes in there and you're throwing the cucumbers out, which I like to do. That's what he had to do. And sometimes all the close games do not go your way. And that's what we're having to do with this team. We know we lack team speed. We know we have good leadership. We know we have good shooters. But when you have good shooters, you're having to give away on the rebounding end unless your kids, particularly the shooters, will go to the boards. Other than that, you're not going to hit every shot. You're not in baseball going, if you hit 300, you're in the Hall of Fame. So you're going to have more misses. To do that, you've got to be rebounding collectively as a team. And that's what we're not doing. We do not have the Indy Jones that can give us the 12 to 18 rebounds a game, plus give us consistently the 10 to 12 points. Last year, our leading scorer averaged 12.5. We won the SEC with the leading scorer. This year, we've got somebody averaging 16, another one 12, and we're 1-6 near the bottom of the SEC. So Buzz had to have kids buy in, and I don't think they all bought in last year. So when they do not all buy in, then they transfer out. He brings transfers in that will buy into work ethic and to the system. And sometimes you're either going to hit or you're going to miss. And he has a whole lot more hits this year than he had last year. I had a whole lot more hits last year because I graduated 3 very good players. I lost 2 portal players that were very athletic and that are playing very well for other institutions right now. I brought in 3 portal kids and 3 freshmen that are going up and down right now. They're producing on one end, they're not producing on the other. Our chemistry's good, but our execution is average. Now, as a coach, how do I put that together against an SEC that is stronger this year than it was last year?
All right, let's start off with Perk. I know that not a lot has happened since yesterday, but just kind of reset the Perk situation and what has happened up until this point.
Well, by the way, with Anna sitting here and me talking to you, it's like she's your secretary, and we're having this meeting across her desk.
I feel like I could be David's
typing our
personal
notes.
assistant.
Yeah. So with Perk, and we talked about it a lot yesterday, as you said, they spoke with him last night on the phone for a while, and then the expectation, they is A&M. A&M spoke with him on the phone last night for a while, and the expectation is for them to go in and sit with him tonight. So we won't know anything else, like I said yesterday, until after that meeting. Florida is a real possibility. Did some checking. Jackson State is a very real possibility. So Deion Sanders kind of moving really quietly and late like he did for Travis Hunter and like he did for Kevin Coleman, and he's now entered the race for Harold Perkins as well. So we'll see what happens. A&M still has a lot of stuff on their side, most notably those long-standing relationships, and also the fact that just being in Houston and going to Texas A&M and what kind of doors and opportunities that opens up in the future when you start thinking about your entirety of your life outside of football. So be interesting to see what it's made for a very fun, I guess if you're a neutral, a very fun final 7 days of this recruiting cycle when A&M thought it had everything wrapped up and was just kind of coasting to the finish. This has provided some drama.
What is the end game here for Deion? And the reason I say that, obviously you want to recruit the highest players, but why are they such a player outside of the obvious of the financial structure? What's the long-term benefit for them to go? You just go for 1 year, get paid, and then go wherever you want? Like, well, I'm just
we'll
seeing...
see. We don't even know if that's the plan. Like,
yeah.
I mean, they may stay at Jackson State, and if you can't blame Deion, whatever method he's using, if he's getting really good players of the level that they've never even come close to sniffing at that school before, and he starts winning at a very high level at Jackson State, like that's historic. What he's already done is historic there. So as a head coach of any college program, you're trying to win at the highest level. So in order for you to do that, to best help you do that, you've got to get players that can help you win on the highest level. And he's gone out and done that at Jackson State. So long-term, his long-term plan, what all that means in terms of 5 years down the road, who knows? But for right now, he's trying to win football games and get the best players he can to do it. And getting a guy like Travis Hunter, getting him to do it now opens the eyes of any top recruit in the country that said, I could go here. Like, it's not some kind of like crazy thing to talk about anymore. Somebody actually did it. And then Kevin Coleman did it, who's a really good player. And now it's starting to build up. We're like, hey, we could really go here and do something crazy and like build a program from nothing into whatever it's going to be.
So TV-wise, are those? I don't even know. Like, how often is Jackson State on TV? Is that even a thing? Do we know?
It all changes, I guess, if you start getting better players. I mean, TV is going to follow dollar sign opportunities, right? Like, that's where the TV contracts are going to go. And if some sports broadcasting company or just national network wants to put Jackson State on TV and buy their rights, I mean, what's stopping from somebody from buying their rights like NBC does with Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I think just the way that the NFL game is going now, Leon O'Neal has a lot of value. They're looking for those versatile safeties that can play the deep safety, play the post, but then they can also roll down and play the run. And Leon O'Neal, he's a very physical guy, so you can insert him on nickel packages if you want him to play that linebacker position. And he, like you said, he's the emotional leader. I think he's the guy that gets the guys riled up every week, right? Like when you playing Texas A&M, he knows to make his presence felt, and I think you need that on the defense for sure. Like you always need a couple loose screws on defense just to get those guys going.
Well, let me ask you this too, because how much do teams look at a guy like that and say, man, he would be perfect for special teams, just his personality, the way he goes after people? Is that part of the evaluation process?
Oh, for sure. When I talked to NFL scouts just in the past, and, obviously at LSU, we had a good bit of guys come in during the 2019 season. That was the number one thing. Like we had highly talented guys, but they wanted to know what was their mental makeup. And I've seen it. Guys have a first round grade and then they go into meetings with a team and then they'll come out with a second round grade just because they're not 100% sure, when the live bullets start flying, how this guy's going to react. And then when you talk about the not so good NFL teams right now, we talk about like maybe the Jets and the Giants, they need guys that love football, right? They want to compete at a high level to kind of get the culture and change that around. So they definitely take that into account.
All right, friends, all I want you to do, there's a lot, actually. It's a long list of things you can do. You can like, you can subscribe, you can comment, you can share, you can rate, you can review, you can tell your friends about it. Do all that good stuff here on TexAgs Rewind, presented by T-Mobile. Thank you very much for watching.